These are all of the mods that I use to make Minecraft just that little bit more enjoyable to play without straying too far from the vanilla feel of the game. They can be split into 3 categories: sound, visuals, and gameplay. Starting with all of the mods that I use to make Minecraft sound better, first up is Ambient Sounds. This is an incredibly simple audio mod that adds subtle ambience to your world depending on which biome you're in. If you're in a forest biome, you'll hear a gentle breeze, the rustling of leaves, and delightful birdsong. If you're in a jungle biome, you'll be able to hear insects, tropical birds, distant monkey howls, and the sounds of the dense foliage around you. Same goes for if you're swimming in the ocean, deep underground in a cave, or even in any of the nether biomes. It is a great way to immerse yourself more deeply into your world. Next up we have Cool Rain. This is actually a recent addition to my mod collection, so I'm still getting used to it, but I love it so far. Rain is usually something you don't enjoy in Minecraft, but this solves the audible side of that. Depending on what block you're standing under, the sound of the rain hitting said block will change. If you're standing under some kind of metal roof, you'll hear the droplets pinging off as they land. If you're camping out in a tent made from wall blocks, you'll hear the pitter-patter on the fabric. Same goes for a handful of other block types too. It really is a cool change to the rain, hence the name I suppose, and really does make the bad weather a bit more enjoyable. The last sound related mod that I use is Presence Footsteps, which quite simply alters the sound of every block as the player walks over it. There would be way too many to name now, but to list a few of my favourites: if you walk through tall grass, it sounds like it's brushing out of your way. Bee nests and some other blocks have an old creaky sound, which is perfect for worn floorboards. The amethyst block has a subtle twinkle as you step across it, and honestly, I could go on, but I won't. It even changes depending on what footwear you're using, and all of it can be tweaked and changed in the settings. I do have some honourable mentions to go through for each section, basically mods that fit with the idea of enhancing vanilla, but I personally don't use, though I think some of you may like them. The only one I have in the sound department is Sound Physics Remastered, which adds realistic echo and reverb and is especially noticeable underground. If you thought caving was scary before using this mod, then you are going to be terrified. You're probably wondering, is that the main reason I don't have it installed? No, of course not. I'm brave. Really brave. The first of the mods that I use to improve the look of the game is Ambient Environment. This does 2 very simple things. One being that it adds noise to the terrain texture so it doesn't look quite as uniform and plain, and also that it changes the grass, leaves and watercolour ever so slightly depending on what biome you're in. Basically just adding a little bit of variation between the biomes. Next up we have the Better Clouds mod. Now there are a lot of cloud mods and resource packs out there, but this one is my personal favourite. I feel like they are the perfect mix of improving the vanilla clouds without straying too far from the original design. They can also be fully customized so you can decide on how you want them to look. And like the vanilla clouds in the game, they can also change depending on the weather. The thunderstorm clouds look especially cool in my opinion. Similar to the cloud mods out there on the market, there are a lot of mods to improve render distance. My personal favourite of the bunch is Bobby. This simply just allows you to increase your render distance to some insane levels. You can set a max render distance limit, which I have at 128 chunks, because anything higher than that would destroy my PC, but you can go all the way up to some crazy numbers. There are some other less demanding mods that do the same thing, which we'll get to shortly. This add-on isn't actually a mod, but instead a resource pack, though I'm adding it in because I think it is amazing and adds so much to the game. It is Fresh Animations, which gives all of the mobs in the game a much more animated look. The motions are much more fluid and just generally makes them feel more alive when you're interacting with them. I especially love the villagers with this resource pack on, it gives them so much more character. I also use Lamb Dynamic Lights, which is a mod that improves lighting by giving any item that emits a light a glowing effect. For example, if you're caving with torches in your hand, you'll be able to see without even placing them down, because the torch item itself is emitting the light. The same goes for lanterns, frog lights, glow lichen, literally any block that gives off light. You can even throw any item on the ground and it'll be there glowing. It also adds the same glow to any mobs that naturally give off lights, such as glow squids for example. It's only a minor change, but I find it makes a huge difference. Another personal favourite of mine is Not Enough Animations. Pretty self-explanatory this one. It adds more animation to the game, specifically where you, the player, is concerned. There is an improved eating animation. When climbing a ladder, you actually climb, not just glide up and down it. If you're in a boat, you hold the oars, and same for if you ride a horse, you hold the reins. Also, if you've got a map in your hands, you can actually grab it with both hands, which just makes so much more sense. Next up, we have a mod which pairs perfectly with Cool Rain that I mentioned earlier, and it is Particle Rain. This makes the rain and snow in Minecraft look a whole lot better. The rain droplets and snowflakes are much less uniform, which makes it seem a lot more realistic, and honestly, just makes it nice as opposed to being a pain and something to avoid. If you're in a biome which doesn't rain, like the desert or Badlands, then sandstorms occur, blowing dust and shrubs through the terrain. There are also droplets on water and a dripping effect on the sides of blocks. All in all, just a very cool mod which makes the rain in Minecraft much more enjoyable to get stuck in. The last mod that I use to visually improve the look of Minecraft is Subtle Effects, which, as you may have guessed, adds some very subtle effects to the game. There's too many to list now, but some of my favourites include these particles coming from lanterns, sparks from a minecart when going over a powered rail, better looking beacon beams, sleeping Z's when you or a villager are in a bed, dust clouds when falling from a certain height, and so many more. It does also add a few sounds to the game, which is nice, and like most of the other mods, it does have its own settings which can be tweaked to your heart's content. Now for some honourable mentions, the first of them being Atmospherics, a mod that I keep meaning to add to my game, but keep putting off because of the massive amount of customizability. You can literally change the look of every biome in the game to make them exactly the way you want to, and do the same for both day and night. It can result in some beautiful sunsets and sunrises, so I should probably find the time to dabble in that at some point. Voxy and Distant Horizons are the other two render distance mods that are quite popular alongside Bobby. The difference is these two are much less intensive on your PC by decreasing the rendering quality of the really far away chunks, or something like that. I don't know, I'm not really smart enough to understand. And lastly, Explosive Enhancement improves the look of explosions, so TNT, creepers, and even has an underwater version, which looks pretty great. The last categories of mods that I use are those that improve the actual gameplay of Minecraft, starting with a crowd favourite, Axiom. Now, I know this may be straying too far away from vanilla for some people's liking, but my personal favourite part about Axiom isn't actually any of these features that you can use when you press right shift. Very overwhelming and time consuming to understand. My favourite part is all of the really helpful things you can do without the Photoshop-esque overlay. Moving, stretching, cloning, replacing, quick breaking, reaching, and a bunch more. All very easy to understand that I think most players could grasp pretty quickly and makes the process of building in creative so much more efficient. If that's the way you play the game, of course. Obviously, if you're in survival all of the time, then it's not going to be of much use. I believe this is actually a feature in the game now, or at least one you can choose to add in, but for the longest time I have used a mod called Better F3, which just allows you to fully customize the debug screen. I've changed mine to only include the bare necessities of what I actually use F3 for, so it's much more compact without having all of the other stuff surrounding it that's a bit annoying to have in the way. You can change the color and choose which side of the screen you want to have it on, and it also slides in from the sides of the screen as opposed to just popping up instantly. Overall, a very nice mod if you're often checking the F3 screen for something. Now we have one of my favorite mods of the entire video that I think should be in the vanilla game, or at least some aspects of it should be, and that is Inventory Profiles Next. Basically, this is a mod that improves the inventory GUI. Now, it doesn't actually make it bigger or allow you to carry more items or anything like that, but it does make keeping yourself and your chests organized so much easier. There are a ton of other settings that you can use with this mod that I'm not going to go into because I think there's only one feature that I need to show you in order to convince you of its greatness, and it's these buttons right here. If pressed, it will automatically sort either your inventory or chests depending on what you have open. It means you can just chuck everything in, and instead of manually sorting it so it's not chaos, you can just press a button and it'll do it for you. Sure, we have a bigger inventory problem with lack of space in this game, but I think this would be an incredible feature to have when they do decide to do something about it. Next up, we have MiniHUD, which definitely lends itself more so to the technically minded player by adding in overlays for stuff like spawn range, structure bounding boxes, slime chunks, and a load of other stuff. But it also has a few features that are helpful to most players, such as light level display, clearly showing you what blocks are spawnable, making lighting up your world a much easier task. I probably use about 10% of its features, but even those I feel like I couldn't live without now. It is very useful, and if you just have a look through the vast menu of everything you can do with it, you're probably going to find something that will help you out. Now for a mod that I've been using throughout this entire video, and that is Mod Menu. Very simply, it just neatly organizes all of your mods into one place within Minecraft itself. This makes the settings for each mod that you're using much easier to access instead of having to remember which hotkey you set for all of the mods you're using. This is an absolute must if you're using anything more than just a handful of mods. I wouldn't say I use this one very often, but when I do need to, it is very nice, and that is Scribble. This makes writing books so much easier. You can make text bold, underlined, italic, crossed out, change the color, make it do this if you so please, which are all things you can actually do in vanilla Minecraft without the mod. It's just a massive pain to do so. This takes away the trouble and makes it all nice and simple to use within the book GUI itself. The final mod that I have in my arsenal is Shulker Box Tool Tip. I've been using this for so long that I honestly forgot that it was a mod and not an actual feature of the game. Basically, when looking in a shulker box, it displays a pop-up preview of every item inside of said shulker box. It's just insanely helpful for staying organized, especially if you're working on a big project with multiple shulker boxes. This is definitely another one that I couldn't play without. For the last of the honorable mentions, we'll start with Big Sign Writer. It allows you to easily create this giant text onto signs. Similar to the Scribble mod, it is things you can all do in vanilla. It's just tricky and not really worth the hassle. I'll be honest, I don't quite know why I don't have this installed. I guess I just don't write on signs enough. I also wanted to mention Xaero's world map. You may have heard of Xaero's minimap. It's like that, just bigger. You can see your entire world seed in map form, which is just really helpful for navigating your world if you're okay with that sort of thing. I actually used this for quite a while and really enjoyed having it, but the last time I updated my mods, this one wasn't ready, so I haven't had it since then. Maybe I'll get it back because I do quite enjoy seeing my world in map form. One very last thing that I would like to mention, which I think most of you watching could definitely make use of to some degree. It's not a mod, but actually a website, and that is Vanilla Tweaks. Here you can download your own customized resource pack full of minor adjustments to the visual look of the game, download data packs to adjust gameplay and quality of life, as well as crafting tweaks if you want to alter some crafting recipes. This is a wonderful tool for tweaking the vanilla game, so much so that they named it that, and I think it does it in the best and simplest way possible to allow you full control. Highly recommend. But that is everything, plus a little bit more, that I use to improve my Minecraft experience. I hope some of these will be helpful to you, and of course if you have any suggestions of mods or add-ons that fit into the category of enhanced vanilla, then be sure to leave them in a comment below. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.